Hello everyone, Reggie Time here, playing some Poker Bros, hopefully with the commentary working this time. We're playing on a different account tonight because we're playing on a different tablet and I forgot my password to log into the It's Reggie account. So we're playing on the Dalglish account in the same clubs. Probably to avoid confusion, keep using this tablet going forward, assuming the audio is fine, and keep using this account when I play. And yeah, not really sure what else to say about that really, other than it is 1:25 in the AM. We're going to play for around 45 minutes. I shouldn't really be up this late because I need to be up early in the morning because we're going on a road trip to collect a car we've bought, a Vauxhall Mocha for anyone who's interested. And I'm going to get some Burger Kings, and anyone who follows me on other social media will know just what a fan I am of the Whopper Burger. So that'll be the highlight of the trip for me. Fuck the car we've bought. Get those Whoppers in my belly. So yeah, it's going to just be, yeah, 2:15 is my finishing time. Not just for the video, but for the session. And hopefully between now and then we can do a good job of showcasing these games, win some money, and play some good poker. The last 2 nights have been a nightmare. The first time I made a video, my iPad ran out of storage space, which is a pain in the ass. Couldn't upload it. Made one last night. My iPad couldn't upload it for ages because I had to delete loads of apps so it would upload it, and then it uploaded it without fucking audio, which was a cunt. So I'll say again for the 3rd time now. For you, it's the first time you might be hearing it, but for me, it's the 3rd night in a row saying it. I'm going to be playing a lot more No Limit on the YouTube channel going forward for at least a few weeks because I have some new day work that's come up. Could be temporary, could be longer term, depending on how it's going to be staffed. And we'll get back to that in just a moment because we've raised under the gun and we've been 3-bet from someone in middle position who is on their stats so far at the table a very weak tight type player. Can't fold for half pot on this flop. Probably can't fold the turn either. I think I'm gonna force the guy to fire 3 streets here. Unless he goes massive on the turn, then we'd probably get away. I mean, it's just a fucking nit. And nit is 3-bet under the gun. Is he double barreling ace king here? Probably not enough of the time. So we'll just exploit what we know about him so far by making a slightly tighter than usual fold. So yeah, it's a project I used to work in. They have a new resident and it leaves them short staffed for at least a short time. So I'm going to be going in and helping out with their short-term staffing issues, and knowing how care companies work, it could become a long-term staffing issue, or they might just say to me, well, if you can do these certain hours every week, then we won't put the fill in the position, but you can just come in and do them as a relief work, which will suit me just fine. But that does mean that I'll be doing 23 hours per week day work all through the day, which kind of fucks with my PP poker grind on the short deck and PLO and things like that. And the young man who I give direct payment respite care to might be getting some extra support hours soon, and if he does, then I'll be even more hours. So I could be close to doing 30 hours a week of my day job soon, which is way more than I've done in a good while now. But it's all with good people, so I'm happy with that. There's been times when I've been in care work when I've worked with good people who were the service users, but not, in my opinion, the highest quality support workers, and which has kind of made me, I mean, I'm lucky really. I've not had to work. I've got income from other places, so I've not had to go into work. So I just kind of chose not to work very much because I wasn't that fond of my colleagues. But this is like a little fresh start in a new project. Well, in a project I worked at years ago, but kind of a new job, if you will. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into that. And as I say, it could be a 1 or 2 week short-term thing, or I could still be doing it this time next year. We just never know, and we never know what other opportunities might come up. But getting back to putting in a good 20 plus hours a week, actual meaningful, rewarding working, will certainly do my how do we put it? It's not ego, it's not self-confidence, self-esteem. It will certainly boost that a little bit, because I haven't contributed an awful lot to society in the last few months. I really haven't, and not as much as I would like to be doing anyway. So it will do me some good in that respect, and it's just some extra money we can just pop away in the savings for when lockdowns are over, and we can do some nice things that we've missed out on doing for the last 12 months. Anyways, enough of that. Poker chat all the way now. I think I mentioned in the PLO video that you will see, I made it earlier today, you will see it tomorrow. So it was made before this, but it's going to go after this. I'm going to try and make lots of videos. I've got real enthusiasm for life at the moment, and all the things I'm doing. Enthusiastic about poker, enthusiastic about my care work, and there's no reason why I can't make 3 videos of Poker Bros a week, because I can make them all when I'm never working at this time of night, but any time really between 9:30 p.m. and 1 a.m. Hopefully we've been 3-bet here. We haven't been, but we have flopped a set, which is almost as good as being 3-bet. So I'm hoping to make 3 videos of Poker Bros a week, and then slide the odd short deck or PLO video from PP Pokering. That's a pretty bad turn card. Lots of things get there. I think with the flush draw we just bet again for value, of course. I mean, the flush gets there, but we have the nut flush blocker. The straight gets there, but we have the nut flush redraw. Don't really want to check there and miss value from stuff we're still beating, 2 pairs, top pairs, or just give him a free shot at ripping like a 4-line straight or something that isn't a club. Yeah, fingers crossed. There'll be, well, guarantee you 3 videos per week, assuming nothing goes wrong with my tablet uploading skills and tablet recording skills, and hopefully the occasional spicy short deck or PLO 5 video thrown in, where basically I'm just there splashing. Someone's just won a $34,000 jackpot. That's nice for them, isn't it? Anyone we know in there? I can't. Let's go and get rid of that. No, nobody we know. Well, nice. That is a nice jackpot to take down. Yeah, I really enjoyed the PLO video I made this morning that you'll see the next day. Now, I know some of you won't watch it because it's PLO 5, but it was fun, and I did quite a shithouse thing in it. I'm not going to say any more than that. Some of you will already know if you're in the Facebook group, or if you're in the Sky Discord group and you watch my stuff. Some of you will already know about it, but I'm not going to spoil it for those that don't. But I'm a shithouse, and it should be a rare treat for you. Maybe we could have thought about raising the King Jack there versus the limp, but now we're just going to start betting, and we're not going to stop. Try and get 3 streets from Ace X here. Well, someone's got an ace. We now have a full house. And 280 seems about right here. If someone's got the Queen 10, it would be delightful. If someone's got the King 10 or the King Queen, it'll be delightful. 2 callers and a very safe river. Just going to bomb it here. Just going to bomb it. I think if we get called, it'll only be in one spot, I would imagine. Yeah, called in 2 would be super sexy. We dragged down a $16 profit from that pot, from what was a limped pot. So happy days for us. Happy days, Team Reggie. Right, we've been very small 3-bet here from a very bad player. So let's just call and try and make a hand. Nope. So that's it. We are shutting it the fuck down. Loose cannon. No, we're not bothered with the queen. It's 9-6 suited out of position versus 2 opponents. It's not where we want to be in life. And we're going to value bet this river now. And we're going to go about 540. Seems good. And he snap folds. I think there, when it goes check, 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 I think he's going to have ace highs that he's going to fold anyway. But I kind of want to just target his, like, I don't know, pocket pairs that didn't improve to a set, but didn't really want to bet. If he's got any of them, I don't know if an 8 was on the board, but if there wasn't an 8 on the board, I had like pocket 8 or pocket 8s or pocket 7s. Stuff like that just got a little bit lost, but then weren't in the mood to fold. As I hope to demonstrate over the coming weeks, we need to be careful how we describe the games, because they are a little bit sensitive on Poker Bros about stuff like that, but you'll see there's plenty of big pots to be won, and plenty of pretty below average players. These games are very, very passive in general. You do get the occasional good reg who's aggressive, and then the occasional maniac, but typically speaking they are incredibly passive games, so you're not really ever putting that much pressure. If you lose big pots, it tends to either be a cooler or a bluff that's gone horribly wrong, and then the rest of the time you're just out there picking up lots of dead money a lot of the time with some aggressive post-flop play, and then when you have some hands you hope that they stop folding and start calling. But it's not a tough grind. It's not even close to being a tough grind. And if I had to estimate what my win rate would be in the 14L games, because they're definitely softer than the 16L. I don't even know if we've got any 16L tables going, have we? That's 40. That's 40. That's 40. No, all 40. These 14L games are just really soft grinds. Mix of bad regs and lower ability. Very, very few good regs. So yeah, I estimate my win rate in these games over the years, over the course of a year, to be as good or better than it was when I was playing on Sky for years in their 20 and 30L games. I think these games are probably as soft or softer than those. Probably softer, to be honest. It's a very US heavy player pool at this time of night. During the day, games aren't so good, not so much traffic, and it's more Euros playing. Well, this time of night, we're very much in US prime time. What is it on the West Coast now? It's like 6 PM, so it's just coming to West Coast prime time, and on the East Coast, it's like 9 PM. So I guess I tend to start my sessions a little bit too early when I'm starting at 10:30, 11 o'clock-ish, because it's mid-afternoon to early evening in the US. This is probably prime time to start sessions, but I really don't want to be putting full-on night shifts in, so I'll play slightly less off-peak times. most of my days now, given going back to work, and I'm going to be working Mondays, off Tuesdays, then working Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays. The Monday and the Fridays I'll be starting work at 12, so I could have some later grinds on the Sunday and the Thursday, but on the Monday, so it's a Sunday, Monday, well, basically 5 days a week I can put a night shift in, but I don't want to fuck my body clock too much. But then on the Wednesday and Thursday I need to be starting work at, I think it's going to be 10:30, so we can't be grinding till 5 a.m. and then getting up at 9:30, then going to try and do 7.5 hours work off 4.5 hours skip. It's not good, not when you're in the care sector, especially, and you owe it to the people that you're supporting to be at your best, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. But I think when I'm starting at midnight, starting at midday, when I don't need to get up until 11 a.m, we could possibly put some grinds through until 4 a.m. there quite comfortably. I think we just need to stab this flop. We don't need to go huge. Just trying to get him to fold anything that isn't an ace or a king, basically. It's kind of very much a fire once, give up situation. I think we're going to do an overlimp with the sixes here. We are going to open. I started off min raising when I was come back to this site from PP Poker, but the games are just so damn passive. There's so little 3-betting pre-flop that 3xing is just much better in general. We just build bigger pots without having too much pressure put on us, which allows us to make bigger value bets, which is what we're going to be most of the time post-flop. I think we're duty bound to c-bet the king 6-8 dry. When we were the early position pre-flop raiser, we get called. Doesn't necessarily mean to say we have the worst hand, but it does mean it's going to be difficult for us to fire a second barrel, even against Robot Eagle, who is pretty bad. But given we pick up the gut shot too, we're going to hope he either checks back or bets relatively small. Holding the king going to the donk bet, he just checked back. So at this point, I think there's a reasonable chance with the best hand. Not that easy to get value with being a king and a jack on the board. And he just lets us walk into the end zone with our, what turned out to be like third pair. Robert Eagle is a regular, plays every night, but he plays the table hero style every night too. The man can take a punch, it seems. Or the lady. More likely a man though, isn't it? Let's not get too fucking woke about things. It's poker. It's about 95% male dominated. So I think it's reasonable to assume our opponents are males until proven otherwise. This guy's been somewhat active, but we're going to still open the king 10 into him, of course. Don't like check calling second players much in passive games, but I think our hand's not strong enough to lead out with. It is when someone just open folds, when they can just check and see a turn, and it's like, nah, fuck that, out. We face a pot size bet on the turn with our second pair, no kicker. And we're not going to be trying to get to showdown. me. That's what happens when you have pies and peas for tea. It's an interesting open size from Nutty One. Just the, well, and the flat. Right, we're going to stick with this one. It looks like it's going to be interesting. Get the 16.5x open, and then the call, and then the check on the flop, check on the turn. So Nutty One's got something like pocket jacks here. Ace Queen and Jack 7 off. Just thought it was reasonable to pile a lot of big blinds in pre with a call. You can get the you can pretty much get that tag, and if this forces on the button, we're going to be making a very chunky open size. We're just going to 10x it here, I think, versus the two limpers. Hope the ZLG has the Jack 7 again and fires a call in. Now, whether we win or lose this King Queen hand, I did say these games were soft. I did tell you the games were soft. And we've had two players just passively put in 10 blinds in each. Get a pretty diabolical flop. We could bet very small here. I think we're going to check back against two opponents. Now, if you remember, ZLG didn't bluff 1 ounce that last hand with his Jack 7 off. So we're certainly not going to be looking to call any bets from him when he decides to just ram a pot size betting on the turn. But we are going to make some very large opens with our stronger holdings at this table because of the presence of ZLG 86. And because he's so sticky, we're not going to open hands like Ace 9 off over limpers again, because we don't want to be like ramping it up with hands like that don't really flop very well very often. We're just going to be ramping it up with hands that either flop good made hands or good draws. He was just gone with the massive overbet this time on the King Queen 6. He is what we commonly call in the trade a fun player. What my good e-friend Duesenberg would call a glue sniffer. He's got lots of glue. He loves glue. Sniffing glue is definitely one of his prime hobbies. I think we can probably start limping some hands too with this ZLG in the pot, because we want to just play a lot of pots with ZLG and he just snap folds. We just want to try and get in as many pots as possible, and that play really exploitably, raising big with our good hands, raising smaller with our less good hands, and limping with some of the weaker ones. As exploitable as that is, we are not going to get exploited for it in these games. Pretty easy little stab here. And it looks like we're going to take it down. We'll stick with this table as often as we can. What miserable collection of hands. King 3 off, 9 6 off, 8 5 off, and King 4 off. Miserable, I tell you. Miserable. Ace deuce, and our friend the blue tag has limped. We're not going to be bumping this up from the big blind. It's going to be seeing a flop. And we're not going to be continuing with any chip putting in. Open the ace 5 again because 3 bets don't really happen that much. So we can open a little wider than I would in tougher games. Flop an ace, probably one of the weakest aces we're going to have in this spot, so we're going to check back a straight. I'm going to call this turn and hope for a check on the river. If he bets, we're not going to be any of his value range. So then it's just like, how often does he bluff in this spot? Pocket 5s. Okay, we'll take that. We'll take that outcome. We were dominated pre, but we won the hand, which is always pleasant. Don't think I like his bet on the turn very much. I mean, the hands that are checking back there are usually going to be beating pocket 5s. Because they're going to be betting any draws. Going to be betting quite a lot of air and checking back weak ace-x like I did, pocket queens, pocket jacks, pocket 10s, pocket 9s, etc. They're all going to check back flop and call once. Goose, what are you? You're a wannabe pro. So we won't bother taking the ace-8 suited up against you versus a 3x open. Button is sitting out here, so we're going to open the 4 deuce. We do get a call, so we're going to want to see some friendly flops. We're probably going to stab this small, like 160 seems reasonable. Just to fold out any like Jack 10 that is 2 overcards but would just fold to a bet. And Jack 10, Queen Jack, Ace 4, all that kind of stuff, Ace 5. He does call with a check back. We do have a little bit of showdown against just like naked flush draws. And we're going to fold if he bets, I think, unless he bets really small. He bets half pot. He's going to have a king or nothing here, though, isn't he? It's going to be king or nothing. But we're going to stick with the read for the time being that most of these guys are passive and don't bluff anywhere near enough to justify wanting to call bottom pair against them. Has our friend left? Oh no, he hasn't. There he is. He's still there, chugging away. Chop suey, loose cannon, raises the button. We are going to play it against a weaker player when they 3x from that position. Folded the ace 8 suited earlier to someone who's possibly a stronger player. into weaker players and willing to play a few more hands, especially ones like ace-9, which are going to be comfortably ahead of even a fishes, like a passive fishes but on open range. Checks back. Don't think we need to be turning ace-9 into a bluff here. I think we have enough showdown value. Now we're going to make a bet, I think, because maybe he just folds pocket 18 if we bet. Here we've been squeezed and there's been a caller. So there's about 8 million people already in the pot. ZLG is coming for sure. So we're going to go for an ambitious. I don't like set my any 3-bet pots. I really don't, with ever a situation with doing it. This one right here is going to be it. Don't think we're going to be putting any more money in a multi-way pot. Don't think it's on my to-do list. The longer it takes a yellow strike to come, the more chance it's checked through. We pick up an open ender. Still don't think we want to be doing any betting. Stab here with our 6s on the monotone board. Looks like we've been raised immediately and now we've been completely counterfeited with the 7s. And it's a trivially easy fold. Let's just see if this goes to showdown here. And we let 2 ace highs beat us. Well, we didn't let them beat us. But they did beat us. We're going to try and get heads up with the 6s on the button. I'm going to 3x out 10-9 suited on the probably the softest table that we've got. Been 3-bet, but it's small enough where I think we probably want to call. It's only 9x, 9 blinds, sorry. Don't think we want to be folding 10-9 suited. We've been limp raised here and we are going to pass on the 6s. We're going to be check calling once here. Again, it's not a particularly comfortable situation, but we have flopped a pair in a 3-bet pot. And there is no ace or king out there. There is a queen, but especially when he bets that small. And now we're just going to have to tap out. The board is way better for him than it is us. We only have 3rd pair. Nine, 7 under the gun is pretty, but well, not under the gun, middle position, I guess. It's pretty, but we don't want to be opening that wide. Limp snap call from Mr. King. And then checks the flop. Have a little stab. Again, we're not going to be tripling too often here, but just have a little stab, collect any dead money that's out there. Other than the M85 with ZLG in the blinds. And 3-bet here by a regular. I don't think I want to fold just yet. Okay, we're going to time out my fold then. That's fine, we can live with that. Probably wasn't going to be a great 4-bet anyway, but that was the line. The line I was going to do was 4-bet. Probably quite a bad hand to 4-bet with. The only reason I went to 4-bet there is because when watching the heads-up duel, one of them, I think it was Negrano, who said that sometimes, oh no, hang on, I was wrong. I think he said sometimes pocket threes wants to 3-bet, 5-bet, so maybe it's a bad 4-bet. Kings under the gun, not my favourite place to get them, but we'll take them anyway. We would have taken a 3-bet there from our loose aggressive friend, or aggressive friend. 8-3-6, not our board, so we're going to go for a check here, but we're going to be raising. If you bet, I think I want to make it a size where we can shove turns. 6 is going to leave you with 14 and about 16 in the pot, but he didn't want to play. Our tight aggressive friend goes with the 5x ISO versus the under the gun limp, and there's a caller, so we're going to go with a rather large squeeze, and there's no folding after making it this size. If we get 5-bet shoved on or whatever, then, or sorry, 4-bet shoved on, we just go with it. But we're very happy to take it down pre. 5x under the gun from a weak tight player who isn't fully stiff. If he had full stack, I'd probably take a little shot with the king jack, but given his opening off less than 75 blinds, I'm not going to bother. These folding pros, when you see them tagged on here, the ones who are consistently folding pros, like night in, night out, they're your typical, like kind of like bad, tight passive regulars. So if a bad, tight passive regular suddenly wakes up and makes it 5x under the gun, you're probably going to want to have a pretty tight range to continue. King 8 suited. I want to play this hand because of ZLG, who snap gets out of the way again, which is quite annoying because now we're stuck with a hand as weak as King 8 suited under the gun with our main target out of the way. And min 3-bet comes in from another whale. Flaunt me something nice. Okay, don't. I mean, that's fine too. And we are out of there. two hands we're going to be looking at playing here, the king, queen and the ace and the 8. I'm going to go with a rare 3-bet bluff here against the regular with the ace 8 suited. It's not a play I make very often in these games. I think if you have to be making these types of plays too often, then you just hit bad tables. If you need to be getting out of line even a little bit. But you know, we have to do it occasionally. But if you find yourself in a game where, you know, most hands are getting raised in 3-bet, or most hands are getting raised at least, then you're probably not in the best of games. And if I do find myself in those spots, I typically just disappear and either find a new table or start a new table. Table starting is very good on these apps. Lots of the regs just don't want to play heads up. They just sit around waiting for tables to fill and then jump on waitlists and things. Very few regulars play heads up in these games, or table start. So if you do start your own tables, yeah, if you're not so good heads up, it can be a bit tricky at the start, because I'm certainly not a good heads up player. But the EV of doing it is still very, very large, because you're just frequently getting tables with 4 or 5 players who don't buy in full and then proceed to play pretty badly. And we're just going to call here with the ace jack to allow our super loose friend in the big blind to come in the pot. Interesting to see what this tight Billy did turns up with here. That doesn't see bet multi-way, but then does check call versus a relatively short stack. As expected, he's going to fold there most of the time. He does call in the end. Pocket jacks against flush draw. Get their diamonds. Bit of a nit roll there, really, to be fair. You would never fold in the jacks there. Never, never, never. Very much a nit roll. Let's give the diamond a chance to get there. Diamond. Nope. No diamond, sadly. Games appear to be playing a little bit tighter than usual during this session, which has been a shame. Still not tough. Just maybe we haven't played as many hands. It's felt a bit tighter. Maybe we've not had a particularly good selection of hands to choose from, so it's felt like there's not as much action when perhaps there is, and just we haven't been finding the situations to get in on it ourselves. Second pair on a monotone flop, and we get overbet into. That makes life very easy for us. Shows me the 9 of diamonds. I suspect that isn't the full story there. We'll going to go for an ISO with Jack 10. We don't achieve isolation, but I'm not too worried just yet. Absolute brick city. And a big fat donk into us. Let's see if we can have a giggle at what these two clowns turn up. I mean, fucking God knows what donk's pot there, and then just checks the turn. And then checks the river. Limp call ace king pre. Donk pot king XX, then check down on the driest run out in history. Well played, sir. Well played. You scared me. What? What is going on? Not folding if tight Billy did squeezes. Not raising either, so calling. What are these flops tonight? Just missing. Not even getting a sniff here, are we? Literally not even getting a sniff of a hand. Not even any backdoor stuff to hang our hat on. 3-bet again. No, I'm not defending 9 high versus 3 bets from loose cannons, which means loose passive in these games. We have, I mean, this guy checked and he just called an all in or reshoved. Pocket 10s, okay. Let's get back and root for the 5-4. I want to get back here and root for the 5-4. Nope. 5-4 was not interested in improving. But now I've seen that dude take Billy did 3-bet hands like 10s, which are more than reasonable 3-bets, but it also tells me that we can maybe start dropping some 4-bets on him, because if he's got 10s in his range, then he's going to have a reasonable amount of like 3-bet folds, I guess, because he's not, unless he just decides that pocket 10s is a reasonable 3-bet, get it in hand. If he does, then we're going to be off to flip city quite often, because had I known he was capable of having pocket 10s there, there's a good chance I would just have tried to make him fold that pre-flop with a 4-bet with the ace queen. And if he doesn't, then, as we said, we're off to the races against him. I'm just not that sure that pocket 10s is a really good 3-bet pre. We're going to 3-bet small here just to knock the blinds out and try and get heads up with Robot Eagle, who is a very loose player. Don't really want to play this hand with the blinds as well, if we can avoid it, for a cheap 3-bet. Check back once here, and then either call down or start making some value bets. He overbets, which is somewhat troublesome. Very much doubt we're calling rivers unless it improves us. I'd rather improve to the 8 than the king. If he just bombs away at this river, we're just going to need to fold our hand. He downsizes in terms of like percentage of the pot, but I mean, this guy's just like loose passive. He's not loose. He's not aggressive. So he's the kind of player you want to be value betting against, not paying off against. You might make the argument, no, maybe you should just bet the flop and you'll get like a clearer idea of what his raise looks like. But you know, we're going to want to check back some King X there, and our weakest King X again makes the most sense to check back. Disappointing to put 18 on the turn though. We just an overbet and then fold to just 12 on the river. But how often is that a bluff from the fish? Overbet turn, then like smaller bet river. It's just not a bluff, is it? It's just not a bluff. Well, you can never say never, but it's not going to be a bluff at a high frequency. Usually when I see bad players overbetting, I would say with a remarkably high frequency, it's just value. Remarkably high, like, you know, we're talking like 90% plus of the time when fish overbet, it's value, and when regs overbet, it's probably still value 75% plus of the time. So just like hugely overfolding to overbets in micro stakes cash games is going to be a lot better than being a hero too often. The amount of money you have to make, so the amount of times you need to be good is just too high. Someone's like overbetting the pot, you know, you need to be good like what, fucking 40% of the time. And yeah, I just don't think you are against the pool long term. I'm now aware that we have gone into overtime. Disappointing with the video, it hasn't been particularly interesting, but that's live cash game videos for you. Sometimes just nothing much happens and you get 8 deuce 5 3 10 5 5 deuce, which are just a miserable collection of holdings. But I am wrapping it up for the night, so as disappointing as it is, I need to finish. Because I struggle getting to sleep straight away after a session anyway. So it's 20 past 2 in the morning now. I need to be up again at 8:30, 9 o'clock-ish, if we want to be leaving at 9:30. So I might not be asleep for another hour and a bit yet. So we're going to be on we're not going to be on a big amount of sleep. I think I'm going to rethink this 3xing as well. Pre-flop for the next video. We might go back to min raising. Min raising certainly seems to generate, well, it feels like, maybe it's just one session where I'm result orientated, but min raising seems to generate more like loose passive action than the 3xing does. I wouldn't imagine it'd make an enormous difference, but this session it feels like it's made a difference, and we aren't going to check this board because it's just not our board. And we're going to be check raising. Okay, we're not going to be check raising. We're going to be checking again because I think our opponent just has nothing here. I don't think he's got anything he can call with. He snap checks back again. I mean, it's just going to be... You've got to hope he's got something, but it doesn't look like he has. No. No, disappointing. But when he just snap checks back twice on a low wet board, he just doesn't have a hand. Sadly. So we've got a couple of hands left here, maybe one. And no hand left here. Ace 5 off, which is going to fold, and that's the end of that table too. So there we have it. End of video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. To be honest with you, I wouldn't blame if you didn't, because it's been particularly dull. But keep checking out the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Click the little notification thing so you get the emails when the videos are uploaded. And hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be plenty of content coming your way next week. But for now, take care everybody. Have a good weekend, and we'll be back, well, on Sunday with a PLO video, and then next week with some more No Limit content. Bye bye for now.